You ever hear a story that makes you stop whatever you're doing because it doesn't feel like a sports story anymore? It feels like something else, like a moment that wasn't meant for the world, but somehow still became bigger than a championship belt. Because Muhammad Ali was training for the biggest fight of his life. And what happened to him that summer had nothing to do with the cameras, the reporters, or the crowds. It happened in silence. It happened in a training camp tucked away in the mountains. And it started with a father holding the hand of an 8-year-old boy who was running out of time. The kind of time you can't buy back. The kind of time no amount of fame can extend. And the boy had one wish: to meet Muhammad Ali. Not to get an autograph, not to take a photo for bragging rights, just to look at him up close and feel like he was standing next to someone strong. Because when your body is tired and your future feels small, you start searching for strength wherever you can find it. And that day, Ali gave him something. Not a speech, not a lecture, something far more dangerous. A promise. And if you know anything about promises, you know this. A promise can lift you up, or it can break you. And Ali was about to make one that would sit on his heart every day, until the night he fought George Foreman. But to understand why this moment mattered so much, you have to understand what Ali was facing. Because in the summer of 1974, the world didn't believe in him anymore. Not really. They pretended they did for the headlines. But deep down, they thought he was finished. They said he was too old. They said he was too slow. They said his best days were gone. And worse, they said this fight might embarrass him. They said George Foreman wasn't just the champion. Foreman was a wrecking machine. A younger, stronger monster with fists like sledgehammers. Foreman didn't just beat people. He broke them. He took champions and made them look like they'd never boxed before. He crushed Joe in 2 rounds. He flattened Ken. And wasn't just anyone. Had hurt Ali before. So people looked at Foreman and looked at Ali. And they didn't see a comeback story. They saw a tragedy waiting to happen. And Ali heard it all. Every whisper, every headline, every fake smile that said, "We love you, champ, but we don't think you can do it." And here's the part most people forget. Ali wasn't just fighting George Foreman. He was fighting the humiliation of being stripped of his title years earlier. He was fighting the feeling of being punished for standing by his beliefs. He was fighting the doubt that had crawled into the minds of millions of fans. He was fighting time itself. Because once the world decides you're washed up, they don't wait to be proven wrong. They move on. And Ali, proud, loud, fearless Ali, was standing at the edge of that cliff. One loss and the story ends. One loss and people stop calling him the greatest. One loss and every enemy he ever made gets to smile. So Ali trained like the world was trying to bury him. Because in a way it was. His camp was in Deer Lake, Pennsylvania. Rustic place, quiet, far from the big cities. A training camp Ali had built himself, away from distractions, away from the noise. But the noise still found him. Because doubt travels. And every day in that camp followed a brutal routine. He'd run at dawn through the hills, when the air still felt cold in your lungs. Then hours in the gym. Heavy bag. Speed bag. Footwork drills. Sparring. More sparring. And then when most men would collapse, Ali would sit with his team and talk strategy deep into the night. Not because he loved meetings. Because he knew what he was up against. Foreman didn't need strategy. Foreman needed one clean shot. Ali needed a miracle. And the world kept reminding him. Even the experts, men who had made careers out of boxing predictions, said Ali should not take this fight. Some said it wasn't worth the risk. Some said it wasn't worth his health. And some quietly feared the worst. They didn't say it on TV. But they said it behind closed doors. That Foreman might hurt Ali badly. That it could end ugly. And when you're Ali, you don't show fear. You turn fear into jokes. You turn fear into poetry. You turn fear into confidence. But late at night, when nobody's watching, even the greatest hear the whisper. What if they're right? Now imagine this. It's late July. Ali has just finished one of the hardest training sessions his team has ever seen. 12 hard rounds. 3 different sparring partners. No mercy. No breaks long enough to recover. Just pressure, pressure, pressure. His body is drenched in sweat. His muscles are screaming. His breathing is heavy. And he's walking toward the locker room, thinking about nothing except rest. That's when his business manager and close friend, Gene Kilroy, approaches him. Kilroy isn't smiling. He looks careful, like he's about to step on glass. And he says quietly, so nobody else hears, "Champ, there's a father here with his son." Ali doesn't stop walking. He's used to this. Fans show up all the time. People want photos, handshakes, attention. But Kilroy continues, voice lower now. The boy is very sick, terminal leukemia. Doctors say a few weeks, maybe less. They drove all the way from Ohio. The father's begging just for a minute. And then Kilroy adds something that says everything. "I can send them away if you want." Now here's the thing about that moment. Ali is exhausted. Not tired. Exhausted. The kind of tired that makes you feel hollow. The kind that makes you want to be left alone. And Ali could have said yes. He could have said, "Not today." He could have said, "I'm preparing for Foreman." He could have protected his energy. No one would have blamed him. But Ali stopped. And you could almost feel the air change. Because Ali had met sick children before. He had seen small bodies fighting huge battles. And every time it hit him the same way. Like a punch he couldn't block. Because you can't jab cancer away. You can't outdance it. You can't talk it down. And that helpless feeling, when you're used to being powerful, can break a man. But Ali didn't run from it. He looked at Kilroy and asked, simple, "Where are they?" Kilroy points toward the gym entrance. Ali nods once and starts walking that way. But then he stops again and looks back at Kilroy, almost like he's correcting him. And he says something that tells you who Ali really was, underneath all the show. "Gene, you never have to ask." He pauses. "You bring them to me every time. You hear me every time." Not because it was good publicity. Not because it made him look kind. Because Ali believed something that was bigger than boxing. That service to others is the rent we pay for our time on this earth. And Ali, for all his confidence, for all his loudness, took that rent seriously. So a few minutes later, Ali walks up and sees them. A father holding a small hand like it's the last thing he can protect. And the boy, small for his age, wearing a baseball cap pulled low. The father's face is tired in a way sleep can't fix. This is the tired of hospitals. The tired of bad news. The tired of praying and not knowing if anyone is listening. And when the boy looks up at Ali, it's not just excitement. It's wonder mixed with fear. The kind of look kids get when they're trying to memorize the world. Because they're not sure how much longer they'll be here to see it. The father swallows hard and says, "Mr. Ali, this is Billy." His voice cracks when he says the name. Like even saying it out loud hurts. Ali doesn't stand over the boy. He kneels, right down to his level. No towering champion. No distance. Just a man meeting a child eye to eye. And Ali smiles gently, like he's trying to make the world feel safer for just 1 minute. "Billy," he says, "it's an honor to meet you." Billy lifts his small hand. Weak fingers. But he tries. He shakes Ali's hand like he's shaking a hero's hand. And Ali notices the hat. It's hot outside. The kind of summer heat that makes your skin feel tight. So Ali asks softly, not teasing, not judging, "Why you wearing that hat on a hot day like this?" Billy hesitates. Then slowly, he pulls it off. And there it is. No hair. Not a buzz cut. Not a style. Just smooth scalp, the quiet evidence of a war he didn't choose. Billy looks up and says it like he's reciting something he's been forced to learn too early. I got cancer. He pauses. Real bad. Then, like a punchline with no joke behind it. The doctors say I only got a few weeks. And for a moment, everything around them disappears. The gym, the training, the fight, Foreman, all of it. Because when an 8-year-old tells you he's running out of time, you don't hear anything else. Ali's face changes. Not the public Ali. Not the performer. Something inside him breaks open. And he doesn't say the perfect words. He doesn't try to act strong. He does what the heart does when it doesn't know how to fix something. He opens his arms and pulls Billy into a hug. Not quick. Not polite. A real hug. The kind that says, I see you. You matter, you're not alone. And the camp goes quiet. Even the toughest men in that gym, men who'd been punched for a living, stop and watch. Some look away. Some wipe their eyes. And Billy's father turns his face to the side and starts shaking. Because he's holding back a sound no parent wants to make. A quiet sob. Not for attention. Just grief leaking out. And while Ali holds Billy, one hand cradling the back of his head, Gene Kilroy, standing nearby, quietly lifts a Polaroid camera. He snaps a photo. Just one. A private moment captured by accident. A giant champion kneeling down, holding a tiny bald boy like he's holding something sacred. And at that exact moment, before any promises were spoken, before the world even knew this boy existed, something changed inside Muhammad Ali. Because he wasn't thinking about winning anymore. He was thinking about deserving to win. And the question hanging in the air was simple. What do you say to a child who only has weeks left? What do you give him? And what happens when the greatest fighter alive decides to give him a promise he can't afford to break? That's where the real story begins. Ali finally loosened his arms and leaned back, but he didn't let Billy go completely. He kept both hands on the boy's shoulders, like he was anchoring him to the earth. Like if he held him tight enough, the world wouldn't take him. Billy's cheeks were damp, not from sweat. From tears he didn't even try to hide anymore. And Ali wasn't smiling like the showman. He was quiet now, focused, the way he looked when he was reading an opponent. Only this time, the opponent wasn't in front of him. It was something invisible, something cruel, something that didn't care who you were. Billy's father stood a step behind his son, one hand covering his mouth like he didn't trust himself to speak. Because if he spoke, he might fall apart. And Ali understood that kind of pain. People think fighters don't understand pain. But fighters understand it better than anyone. They just learn how to stand up inside it. Ali took a slow breath and said, almost like he was trying to bring Billy back into a brighter world. So Billy, you know what I'm about to do, right? Billy sniffed and nodded. You're gonna fight George Foreman, he whispered. That's right, Ali said. And you know what everybody says. Billy's eyes dropped, like he already knew the answer. They say you gonna lose. Ali gave a small smile, but it wasn't cocky. It was tender. Yeah, he said softly. They say I'm too old, too slow, too tired. They say Foreman gonna drop me. He leaned in closer. But you know what I say. Billy looked up. His eyes were wide, like the next words might be medicine. Ali tapped his own chest with 2 fingers. I say I'm gonna win. Billy blinked, how? And there it was. The question, not just from Billy, from the world, from the press, from the doubters, from that whisper in Ali's own head late at night. How? Ali didn't answer with boxing talk. He didn't talk about speed or footwork. He didn't talk about training camp or tactics. He answered with something deeper. Because I decided it. Billy stared like he didn't fully understand. So Ali repeated it slower. When Muhammad Ali decides something, it happens. Now some people would call that arrogance. But in that moment, it didn't sound like ego. It sounded like a man trying to hand a child something heavy and bright. Something called belief. And Billy, for the first time, his mouth lifted into a small smile. Not big, not loud, but real. And his father saw it and his face cracked, like he had forgotten what his son looked like when he smiled. Ali watched that smile like it was the most important thing he'd seen all week. Then he lowered his voice, like he was about to share a secret meant only for champions. Billy, Ali said, I'm gonna make you a promise. Billy's smile faded into curiosity. And I need you to make me a promise back. Billy swallowed, okay. Ali nodded once. This is serious, he said, a real deal between me and you. Billy nodded harder now, like being included in something serious made him feel bigger than cancer. Ali looked him straight in the eyes. Here's my promise. He pointed toward the gym behind them. I'm gonna beat George Foreman. Billy's eyes widened. Ali continued, voice steady and sure. Everybody says I can't do it. They say I should stop. They say I should be scared. Ali shook his head. But I'm not scared. He leaned in again. Because I decided. Billy's face was wet again, but the tears were different now. They weren't just sadness. They were hope trying to breathe. Ali squeezed Billy's shoulders gently. Now listen to me, he said. When you decide something in your heart, really decide, you become stronger than the thing trying to stop you. Billy whispered, even cancer. Ali didn't hesitate. Even cancer. Billy's father flinched at the word, like it hurt his ears. Because parents don't want their child to hear that word like it's normal. They don't want their child to carry it. Ali looked up at the father for a split second, just long enough to silently ask permission. The father didn't speak, but his eyes said, please give my son something, anything. Ali looked back to Billy. Now here's what I need from you, Ali said. Billy wiped his nose with the back of his hand, trying to act tough. You gotta beat it, Ali said. Billy froze. Ali repeated it sharper this time, not cruel, not loud, just firm. Not try to beat it, beat it. Billy's lip trembled. Ali's voice softened again. You gotta fight that cancer the way I'm gonna fight Foreman. Billy whispered, but I'm tired. Ali nodded like he expected that. I know you tired, Ali said. Champions get tired. He tapped Billy's chest gently. But champions don't quit. Billy looked away like he was ashamed. Ali lifted Billy's chin with 2 fingers so the boy couldn't hide from him. Look at me, Ali said. Billy looked. Ali smiled, finally that warm Ali smile. I want you to wake up every morning and tell yourself something. Billy listened like his life depended on it. I want you to say, I'm Billy and I'm a fighter. Billy repeated quietly, I'm Billy and I'm a fighter. Ali nodded, again. Billy said it again, slightly stronger. Ali leaned closer. You say it when you feel good, Ali said. You say it when you feel bad. Billy nodded. You say it when the medicine makes you sick. Billy swallowed and nodded again. You say it when you're scared. Billy's eyes filled up. Ali squeezed his shoulders. Especially when you're scared. Billy whispered, okay. Ali cocked his head. What was that? Billy said louder, okay. Ali smiled. I still can't hear you. And something happened. Billy let out a tiny laugh. A real laugh. It surprised him so much he covered his mouth like he wasn't allowed to laugh anymore. The camp around them, trainers, fighters, men with hard faces, started smiling too. Like that laugh reminded everyone what they were actually fighting for in life. Billy looked up at Ali, laughing and crying at the same time. And Ali said, say it like you mean it, say it like you the champion. Billy inhaled, gathering whatever strength he had left. I'm Billy and I'm a fighter. Ali nodded proud. Now say this, Ali said. Say, I'm gonna beat cancer. Billy's father's eyes shut tight like he couldn't take it. But he didn't stop it, because deep down he wanted to hear his son say it too. Billy whispered, "I'm gonna beat cancer." Ali leaned back, too soft. Billy blinked. Ali grinned, "Say it again." Billy said louder, "I'm gonna beat cancer." Ali raised a hand to his ear like he was in the crowd. Louder. And the camp started clapping, soft at first, like they were afraid to break the moment. Billy's chest rose and fell. Then he shouted, as loud as his small lungs could manage, "I'm gonna beat cancer." The clapping got louder. Some men cheered. Some wiped their eyes. Billy stood there shaking, not from weakness, but from something that felt like power. Ali leaned in and hugged him again. "Now that's what I'm about," Ali said. Then Ali stepped back and said the words that would turn into a weight he carried all the way to Zaire. "You beat cancer, and I beat George Foreman." Billy smiled through tears. Ali pointed at him like he was pointing at a challenger. "We both champions," Ali said. "You hear me, both champions." And Billy nodded fast. Like he believed it. Like he needed to believe it. Gene Kilroy snapped another photo quietly. Ali and Billy smiling at each other like two fighters making a pact. And when Billy and his father finally turned to leave, Ali's smile stayed on his face. But his eyes changed. Because the moment the boy walked away, Ali realized something. He didn't just promise Billy a win. He promised a dying child a miracle. And miracles don't come free. As Kilroy walked beside him back toward the gym, he asked softly, "What you thinking, champ?" Ali didn't answer right away. He stared at the dusty ground like he was seeing the future. Then he whispered, almost to himself, "I gotta win this fight, Gene." Kilroy nodded, "You always gotta win." Ali shook his head slowly. "No." He swallowed hard. "I gotta win it for that little boy." And in that moment, the biggest fight of Ali's life stopped being about boxing. It became about keeping his word. And the real question wasn't whether Ali could George Foreman. It was whether Ali could carry that promise, without it crushing him first. That night after the camp finally quieted down, Ali couldn't sleep. Not because his body wasn't tired. His body was wrecked. His ribs ached from sparring. His legs were heavy from road work. His hands felt swollen, like they belonged to someone else. But his mind was wide awake. Because once you look into the eyes of a child who's running out of time, you don't just move on. You carry it. You replay every word you said. You wonder if you said the right thing. You wonder if hope is a gift or a lie. Ali lay in his room staring at the ceiling, hearing the camp outside. Distant laughter, a door closing, someone's footsteps fading away. Then silence. And in that silence, Ali saw Billy's face again. The bald head. The small shoulders. The way his voice shook when he said, "I only got a few weeks." Ali sat up slowly. He rubbed his face with both hands, like he was wiping off exhaustion, but it didn't leave. Because this wasn't the kind of tired sleep could fix. This was a different kind of weight. The weight of a promise. And Ali, who had built his whole life on words, knew something dangerous about promises. A man can joke his way out of a headline. He can rhyme his way out of pressure. He can dance around doubt. But a promise to a child, a promise like that doesn't care who you are. It follows you. Ali got up, walked over to his bag, and pulled out the Polaroid Gene Kilroy had handed him earlier. The photo was still slightly curled at the edges. Still fresh. Still new enough to smell like the chemicals from the film. He stared at it. A giant kneeling down. A tiny boy wrapped in his arms. And Ali's face, his eyes closed, looked nothing like the Ali the world knew. No swagger. No performance. Just a man holding something fragile. Ali swallowed hard. Then he did something nobody at the camp expected. He grabbed a small piece of tape and walked to the mirror. The mirror where he shadowboxed every morning. The mirror where he stared at himself before training and told himself he was still the greatest. Ali pressed the photo up at eye level and taped it there. Right where he couldn't ignore it. Right where he couldn't escape it. And as the tape stuck, Ali whispered, "All right, Billy." Like Billy could hear him. All right. The next morning, before dawn, Ali got up and stood in front of that mirror. The camp was still half asleep. The air was cold. And Ali, still stiff, still sore, looked up at the photo. He didn't smile. He didn't talk. He just stared. Then he raised his fists. And he started shadowboxing. But this time it looked different. Not flashy. Not playful. It was sharp. Tight. Focused. Because Ali wasn't warming up for reporters anymore. He was training for a promise. And from that day on, everyone in that camp noticed the change. The trainers. The sparring partners. Even the kitchen staff. Ali's energy wasn't just high. It was intense. Like something inside him had clicked into place. Dundee, his trainer, watched him one morning and leaned toward Gene Kilroy. "He's different," Dundee muttered. Kilroy nodded, "I know." Dundee squinted, "Different how?" Kilroy didn't answer right away, because how do you explain it? How do you explain a man who has carried the world on his shoulders, suddenly carrying one small boy too? But the days kept going, and Ali kept changing. Before every workout, he touched the photo. Just one tap. Like a ritual. Before sparring, he touched it. Before running, he looked at it. Even late at night, when the camp quieted down again, Ali would walk to the mirror and stare at it like it was a message. And here's the part that matters. The photo didn't make Ali feel strong. It made him feel responsible. Because now, every time his body screamed for rest, the photo spoke back. Now every time doubt whispered, "You're too old," the photo whispered louder, "Not today." Ali started sparring harder. Not reckless. Not wild. But with purpose. His sparring partners said it felt like fighting a man who refused to lose. Like he had something personal on the line. And the camp started whispering. Not the outside world. Not reporters. The people who saw him every day. They started saying things like, "Ali's training like he's got a secret. Ali's training like he's angry. Ali's training like he's fighting for something bigger than the belt." And they weren't wrong. Because at night, when Ali sat alone, he wasn't thinking about Foreman's punches. He was thinking about Billy in a hospital bed. He was thinking about Billy repeating, "I'm a fighter." He was thinking about Billy's father trying not to cry. And that thought made Ali feel something he didn't often admit. Fear. Not fear of Foreman. Fear of failing the promise. Because if Ali lost, what did that say to Billy? What did that say to a boy fighting, something far scarier than a heavyweight champion? Would Billy feel like hope was a joke? Would Billy think, if Ali couldn't do it, how can I? That idea hit Ali harder than any punch. So when the press came to camp, Ali was louder than ever. More confident. More dramatic. He screamed poetry into microphones. He predicted rounds. He called Foreman names. He played the role the world expected. But when the cameras turned off, Ali went back to the mirror. Back to Billy. Back to that quiet promise. And the closer the fight got, the heavier the promise became. Because it wasn't just one fight anymore. It was the symbol of the promise. It was proof that deciding something can make it real. That was the story Ali had sold to Billy. Now he had to live it. Then came the move. The fight was set for Zaire, what we now call the Democratic Republic of Congo. Kinshasa. A different world. Different air. Different heat. Different pressure. And when Ali arrived, the noise was massive. Crowds. Chants. People screaming his name like he was a hero sent from the sky. "Ali's, Ali, Ali's." And everywhere he went, people shouted. Ali. It meant Ali destroy him. It was like an entire nation had adopted him. But even that didn't erase the fear. Because Foreman was still Foreman, and Zaire didn't make Foreman's fists softer. Training in that heat was brutal. Ali's sweat poured like rain. The humidity clung to his skin. The nights were loud. The days were relentless. And the doubts came back. Because sometimes the body tells you the truth your pride refuses to accept. Sometimes the body whispers, "You're not 22 anymore." And when that whisper came, Ali would go back to Billy's photo. Only now, the photo wasn't in the mountains. It was traveling with him, folded carefully, protected like a treasure. And whenever Ali felt himself slipping, he opened it. He stared at Billy's face, and he'd talk to it quietly. "Stay with me, kid." One night, Dundee walked into Ali's room unexpectedly. He saw Ali sitting on the edge of the bed, photo in his hand, just staring. Dundee didn't ask what it was at first. He just sat down beside him. "You all right?" Dundee asked. Ali didn't answer quickly. Then he held the photo out. Dundee looked. His eyes softened. He didn't say much, just nodded once like he understood. And after a long pause, Dundee said something that stuck. "Then we don't lose." Ali looked up at him. Dundee's voice was calm but firm. "We don't lose." Because Dundee knew something too. Sometimes you can't motivate a man with money. Sometimes you can't motivate him with fame. Sometimes you can't motivate him with pride. But you can motivate him with purpose. And Ali had purpose now. The kind that doesn't fade. The kind that makes you do the impossible. The fight was getting closer. The world was getting louder. Foreman was getting meaner. And Ali was getting quieter inside. Not weaker, just focused. Because deep down, he understood the truth. In a few days, under those lights, in front of that crowd, he wasn't just fighting George Foreman. He was fighting for Billy's belief. And once a man is fighting for more than himself, he becomes dangerous. He becomes hard to break. He becomes the kind of fighter who can take punches and smile. Because the pain isn't the point anymore. The promise is. And Ali wasn't about to let that promise die. October 30th, 1974. Kinshasa, Zaire. It was still dark outside. 4 in the morning. But the city was awake like it was noon. Drums echoed through the streets. People danced. They sang. They shouted one name over and over again. Ali, Ali, Ali's. 60,000 people packed into the stadium. Thousands more pressed against fences, radios glued to their ears. And far away, across oceans and time zones, millions waited in silence. Because they all believed they were about to witness something historic. Either the greatest comeback in sports history, or the final fall of a legend. Muhammad Ali stood in his corner. The lights were blinding. The heat was heavy. His robe rested on his shoulders. And inside his glove, folded carefully, hidden where no one could see, was Billy's photo. Ali touched it one last time. Not for luck, for remembrance. Then he stepped into the ring. Across from him stood George Foreman. Young, muscular, unsmiling. A man built like he was carved out of anger. Foreman didn't look nervous. He looked hungry. The bell rang. Round 1. Foreman came forward like a storm. Heavy shots. Power punches. The kind meant to break bones and spirits. Ali didn't run. He didn't dance. He backed into the ropes. And the crowd gasped. Because this looked wrong. This looked dangerous. This looked like exactly what everyone warned against. Foreman smashed Ali's arms. His body. His sides. The sound echoed through the stadium. Punch after punch. Ali leaned back, covered up, absorbed it. And the experts watching thought, "This is it. This won't last." But Ali was calm. Too calm. Between punches, he whispered to Foreman. Taunted him. Is that all you got, George? Foreman swung harder. Round after round, the same pattern. Foreman attacking. Ali absorbing. The ropes holding him up. The crowd unsure whether they were watching genius or a slow disaster. Ali's body screamed. Every punch felt like fire. His arms burned. His legs shook. And in those moments when the pain was loudest, Ali's mind went quiet. He wasn't thinking about belts. He wasn't thinking about history. He was thinking about a hospital room. About a small boy watching a flickering screen. About a voice shouting, "I'm gonna beat cancer." And Ali endured. Round 5. Round 6. Foreman's punches slowed just a little. Round 7. Foreman's breathing grew heavy. Ali felt it. The shift. The moment fighters live for. And then, round 8. Ali pushed off the ropes. Not rushed. Not wild. Precise. He threw a fast combination. A right. A left. Another right. Foreman staggered. Ali stepped in again. One final shot. And George Foreman went down. The stadium froze. Then the referee counted. 1, 2, 3. Foreman tried to rise. 4, 5, 6. He couldn't. 7, 8, 9, 10. The bell never rang. It didn't need to. Muhammad Ali was the heavyweight champion of the world again. The impossible had happened. The stadium exploded. People screamed, danced, cried. Ali raised his arms, but only for a moment. Because in the middle of that chaos, Ali's first clear thought wasn't pride. It wasn't revenge. It wasn't victory. It was Billy. Days later, back in the United States, Gene Kilroy's phone rang. It was Billy's father. His voice was quiet, broken. Billy passed away yesterday. Kilroy felt his chest tighten. "I'm so sorry," he said. There was a pause. Then the father continued. Billy watched the fight from his hospital bed. Kilroy swallowed. He was in pain, but he smiled the whole time. Another pause. "When you won," he kept saying, Ali kept his promise. The father's voice cracked. The next morning, Billy was gone. When Kilroy told Ali, the champion sat down and wept. Not quiet tears. Not controlled tears. He cried like a man who had given everything. "I did it for him," Ali said through sobs. "Every punch for Billy." Kilroy shook his head gently. "He knew, champ, he watched you win." Ali whispered, "But he didn't beat cancer." Kilroy replied softly, "Yes, he did. He fought. He didn't give up. He believed. That was his victory." For years, Ali kept Billy's photo by his bed. He never talked about it publicly. It wasn't for the world. It was sacred. In 2016, at Muhammad Ali's funeral, Gene Kilroy finally told the story. Billy's father was there. Old now. He brought the same photo, preserved, faded. It had been buried with Billy. He had it exhumed and returned to Ali's family. Because that promise belonged to both of them. Today, that photo hangs in the Muhammad Ali Center. A giant holding a dying child. Both smiling. Both believing. Underneath it reads, "Service to others is the rent we pay for our time on earth." That was Ali's greatest victory. Not the belt, not the title, but the promise he kept, and the hope he gave to a child who needed it most. Because greatness isn't about how hard you hit. It's about who you lift when you're strong.